back to Those Two Nerds podcast. We are still joined by the same two nerds because, we have no friends and we're still kind of working at this thing. Maybe one day we'll get popular. But I am your host, Vera Coach, joined by my other co-host, Nictus Plays Games. So I'm just going to hit you off with a crazy random question I've been thinking about all time. Favorite Pokemon? I know I asked you this last time, but I need a different answer besides Jigglypuff because that's not a Pokemon.
What do you mean it's not a Pokemon?
It's not. It can't be a Pokemon. Like, you got to pick like Snorlax, somebody more important than Jigglypuff. What did Jigglypuff do in any of the movies?
Are you serious? There were entire episodes dedicated to him in the anime.
Okay, how many of us watched the anime? We all watched Ash turn to stone.
Whoa, hold on. How many of us watched the anime? You watched the anime. I watched the anime. People still watch the anime on Netflix. This is not like I'm the only guy that watched the show.
Fine, you can have Jigglypuff, I guess.
If you want me to pick a different one, I'm gonna go with Gengar.
Which one was that one? What water type, grass type?
Type? I'm taking your card away. I'm taking your nerd card away. He's a ghost type.
Okay, Gengar, doesn't he have the claw look?
No. He's like alright, so he starts out like the little Ghastly.
Okay.
Then he turns into like Haunter. And
then I know who you're talking about. There's too many Pokemon in the universe now. I think there's
so many.
Is there at three? Are they at they're over 200 obviously. How many are they at right now? Like 300-ish?
I'm gonna look at you really funny for a little while. The last game series they were over 700.
Because I knew there's the
actually
original
closer to probably 8.
Okay.
When you count all the weird legendaries and multiforms and all these other things. And with the new game, we're probably going to be getting closer to 1,000, maybe over 1,000 different types.
I just don't know how you come up with the same premise of the game. I mean, you have your gym leaders and stuff like that, but you add so many more Pokemon that, different designs. Magic's been doing it for however long, and it's worked for them. I couldn't imagine having that much creativity, what their creativity team does, and just all the things that they're doing. But aside from Magic, Pokemon.
Well, if you think about it, right, they've been selling us the same game since like 95.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's the same game. All they did was better graphics. They have taken definite improvements, but it's like still pretty much the same game. Run around, collect Pokemon, fight other cool Pokemon masters, become the greatest of all time.
Oh, for sure.
It's smart. It's smart marketing.
Call of Duty does it. They just change the graphics, change a little bit of what's going on in the game, but it's still Call of Duty.
They're not the only ones guilty of it.
Yeah.
You find something that works, you just keep doing it. Look at Mario. They might put him in 3D, they might put him... But the basic platform Mario games are get to the end of the board, get to the flag, and that's it. It's not... Yeah. It's not rocket science,
Oh, for sure. Just kind of stepping away from it, just a quick, we got some household things to do real quick. I just like to read off some of our reviews that we had. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of good showing from Facebook, personal friends, maybe friends that, scrolled past it and they shared it. A lot of people gave us a lot of good reviews on just the good points that we had and, how they felt about the show. One review said, great points and, great audience. And that's the whole key. I think I had multiple people from work that I didn't even think watched it because I mentioned it once and they just said it was really amazing. I felt like I was being informed, but I didn't feel like I was getting talked through a lecture. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm in a lecture, I'm just monotone, not really a lot of action. So for somebody to come and say that, it really meant a lot to not only me, but I'm assuming for you.
Yeah, the feedback response was positive. I would say mostly positive. Yeah. 99% positive. Obviously there was some things that, people were like, hey, maybe try a little bit more of this, try a little bit more of that. But you know what? This is new. This is the second time we've ever done this, and last week was the first. And we don't really know what it is that we want to accomplish. We just know that we like to hang out. We like to talk about stuff. And I'm sure most of our family and friends are really tired of us being the only people that have to listen to us. So now everyone gets to. The entire world if they want to.
Oh, for sure.
So keep the comments coming. We like them. Good, bad, whatever. I mean, obviously, you can be constructive without being mean, but we can take it. I mean, we know that we're not professionals here.
Oh, no, by any means. I mean, we got some really nice equipment, do not get me wrong. We got, and we're only going to hopefully get better equipment. That way we sound better for you guys and, put ourselves in the best environment to where the podcast really strives. I just remember after our first podcast, I kind of, we high-fived each other. We were like, man, we did so much better than, what we thought we were going to do.
We expected to come out of here and trip.
Oh,
like
sure.
fall on our faces, stutter, interrupt each other, not be able to make clear, concise points. And honestly, I don't think that we necessarily hit a home run, but I feel like we went up to bat and we hit the ball. I mean, it was definitely a base hit.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there.
To use a baseball analogy,
we're gonna hit a home run eventually. Just you got to kind of walk outside after a real successful stream/podcast and kind of do like the end of Breakfast Club where he just like puts his hand up in the air. I know for you audio viewers you don't really see that right now, but I just put my hand up like he did, and I'm just waiting for the freeze frame.
It's one of those things, right? So, you approached me and you're like, hey, I want to do this podcast thing, and I said, I think actually the first question I asked was why. I think that was the first thing I said, and you're like, well, I just think that it'll be fun, and it's something to do. And I said, well, I mean, yeah, I'm not doing anything else, so why not? I like to talk, you like to talk, so here we are. And at least for the first few things, we're just going to try a bunch of stuff, right? We're going to try a whole bunch of different things and see what sticks to the wall, And some of those things might work, some of them might not, but we're going to try and we're going to have fun. So any of you guys that actually watch this, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you'd like to see more of. Obviously, we're going to still cover like the stuff that's going on in gaming news and nerd news and stuff like that, but I don't want this to just feel like we're only going to be a news thing, because there's a bunch of other places that do that, right? And they specialize in like, I don't know, pretty much one type of news. They're like, we do Nintendo news, we do PlayStation news, we do comic book news, and we just like to talk about a lot of stuff that interests us.
Oh, for sure. I think you have to, especially from not only like a podcast standpoint, because I mean anybody can buy a nice microphone and have their editing software to make a podcast, but I think it's more about how you said personality and just how it flows. And I think with good concise points and just making sure everything's great, then I don't see where you can fail. But you just got to do it. I've enjoyed the podcast. I've actually probably read more on gaming news than I've probably read my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a reader. I'm more of a video game player, and that just sounds like a better time. So we're gonna dive right into some hard-hitting questions today. What is one thing? What's your biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve as far as what?
Well, I know you get mad when I say literally.
I get mad when everyone says literally.
All right.
It's not just you.
Yeah. Well,
even when used correctly, that's like much like using the word like. I apologize, because even that annoys me. It's just one of those little minor gripes, I feel that we've become lazy in our speaking.
Yeah.
And we insert words sometimes when really what we should do is slow down, finish our thoughts, instead of just keep making noise,
All right.
So.
Well, somebody that kind of goes against the grain, a rock legend. Let's talk about the Kiss tribute from Pokemon. That's kind of like
that is a really weird transition.
You got to throw the curveball here because I was just thinking like literally broken English. Let's throw a Jewish guy that plays the guitar pretty crazy and all the other things that he does. Massive large tongue.
Okay, so the news on the everywhere this week was the new Galar region. I think I'm saying that right. Mm-hmm. Pokemon in Sword and Shield coming up this November. Now, I don't know if you played the last series or not.
No.
So they tried this thing, right, where they're like, let's take these old characters and we'll give them new types and change the way they look a little bit, and they'll be like regional types.
Okay.
So they changed, like Vulpix, which was a fire fox, to, in this particular region, he was an ice fox. He still looked the same, he was just white with blue. And yeah, I mean, it's cool, it's neat. They took some of the older ones and made them have different types, and it was cool. So I guess they thought that was pretty popular.
Yeah.
They're going to do it again.
Okay.
And a couple of those came out. They showed a couple of them, and the one is a new form for, and the internet loved this one, Weezing. Do you remember Weezing from the classic cartoon?
I did because Team Rocket had that one, and what was Team Rocket's every time they lost? What was their like catch? I don't even.
We're blasting off again.
Yeah, blasting off again. I mean, you just sit there and you're like, all right, Team Rocket coming in again. It's kind of like Dora and Swiper. Like Swiper never wins. And I would just love to see Team Rocket win, like, one time. They just completely take all of Ash's Pokemon and just, like, run off.
I don't think that they actually took all of his Pokemon in one time, but I do think that there was one episode where they did win. They ended up, I think it was, well, maybe multiple now, I don't know. I haven't watched every episode, but
no.
It was the one where I think Jessie got some... What was his name? Wobuffet or something. She stole it and got it, and now it's like on her team, and it won't leave her alone. It's kind of annoying. That's the closest I think they've ever come to winning. But back to Weezing. Have you seen it? Have you seen the Weezing? He kind of looks like sophisticated, and the memes for it have been amazing, right? Yeah. So they've done everything from referencing him to a cartoon, which the name escapes me, but he's some fancy pants guy that wears a top hat.
Oh, Doug Dimmadome.
Yeah.
That's the Doug Dimmadome. That's Dimmadome something.
That's the one.
Fairly Odd Parents. Yes.
Yes, that's the guy. I didn't watch that show. To saying that basically he looked like a bong, and everyone was like, let's just not pretend the fact that he looks like a bong.
Oh, you can't.
And don't get me wrong, I don't really care. I think it's cool. He has like the top hat and the mustache, and I'm actually excited to try him out. I don't think I've ever used Weezing in one of the games.
Oh yeah.
But that wasn't the only weird one, right? It was they call him Angry Pikachu, and
like
he has
grumpy cat meme.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, he looks like two different types, and he has like two forms.
Okay.
So he has one. It's called Full Belly Mode, and he looks happy, and he's like an electric type. Well, he has this other one where he turns like dark purple and black, and he spits out all this dark stuff, and that's when he's in Hangry Mode. They actually call it Hangry Mode.
Oh, that's for sure a word. I mean, it may not be, but that's definitely it.
It's what is it, Betty White mode?
Betty White mode?
Can we just call it Betty White mode?
I mean, you can call it whatever you'd like.
I love Betty White.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another one. The memes for that were pretty awesome. And then I guess the other one that made really big news was Obstagoon.
Which one was that one?
He's a new form from one of the old ones from, I think he evolves from eventually Zigzagoon or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he looks like Gene Simmons, right? And everyone's like, it's Gene Simmons. I mean, he's got the makeup and his tongue's hanging out. He's wearing the body armor. He's even making like the poses. And then other people come in and they're like, no, he's not Gene Simmons. That would be an infringement on copyrights. And then Gene Simmons comes out and goes, hey, like the tribute to him. Yeah. And it's like, go Gene Simmons, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we all, at least once, maybe, some of us younger people. I love Kiss. You kind of got me into Kiss, but another movie was it's not Grown Up. It's
Why Him?
No, it's I mean, yes, that did help, but I was already into Kiss by that point. It was the movie with the guy that plays Ant-Man, and
Paul Rudd
and Stifler.
Okay.
Where they're going to jail.
His name escapes me.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Was it Role Models?
Role Models, yes, Role Models,
okay.
where he introduces the kid to Kiss, and he's talking about Love Gun. We won't go too far into what he's saying about Love Gun, but needless to say,
go to Redbox and rent it if it's still out there.
It's definitely sexual. I just want to say that, guys. Rated R. Get your parents if you're under the age of 17.
Yes, parents' permission.
Yeah. But it felt like it was paying homage to us. Because you kind of showed me Kiss. And I even have like a Kiss bumper plate, like around it. And I'm just like, Gene Simmons is now in technically Pokemon. Not Gene Simmons, but a character that looks like him. I think that's awesome. And I wonder what made him think that way. Like, maybe they designed it and were like, this kind of looks like Gene Simmons. Maybe he'll get on board.
There's absolutely no way that they did this on accident. The resemblance is so uncanny. Maybe when you go back and do the YouTube thing, put up the side by side when we're talking about this segment.
Yeah.
And people will go, yeah, it's totally Gene Simmons. Like, there's no way to deny that and it's the tongue. I mean, that if his tongue wasn't hanging out, you go, maybe.
It's a skunk.
Maybe his tongue is hanging out and he's doing his kiss thing like raw. And I'm not gonna do the tongue thing. My tongue is not that long.
No.
But it was kind of cool. Gene Simmons came out and he said that Pokemon has been a part of their household for decades, ever since their kids first discovered them. And he said Pokemon paying homage to Kiss is flattering.
Oh.
This is the same guy who has sued other musicians, movies, and other things for trying to use his likeness, trying to use Kiss's likeness without his permission. So obviously, for him to come out and say that's pretty cool, that's neat. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, there's so much behind that, and maybe it's the new evolution because you have movie stars kind of talking about Gene Simmons, and now everybody knows Keanu Reeves, John Wick, however you know him, Bill and isn't it
Bill and Ted? Yeah,
Bill and Ted. He's now getting played in Cyberpunk, and I know Cyberpunk's kind of like old news as far as it coming out, but using these actors and stuff like that to make these games, not Dead by Daylight, I almost said it. The game with the girl that plays the cheerleader from Hero.
Oh, Until Dawn.
Yeah, Until Dawn. Using 5-6 great, amazing actors, like well known, and making a game out of it. I think that's so awesome what they're doing with games and bringing actors and celebrities, because gaming's evolving. Any way you look at it,
yeah.
Celebrities are now coming out of their gaming closet saying, hey, I play games, and like I do it religiously. Like when I'm not working, I'm playing video games. You guys may think I'm living this like party lifestyle, but the only party I'm in is like an Xbox or PSN party or Discord.
The thing that just amazes me, right, is I follow several musicians and stuff on Instagram and different social media platforms, and when I see things like someone from a really heavy metal band carrying a Stormtrooper helmet, or a super attractive lead singer from a metal band holding her PlayStation controller and being really excited to play games like God of War and Spider-Man, I'm like, that's so cool, because they're people too. We forget that.
Oh yeah.
When the camera's not on them, they're people. Now, obviously, their lives are completely different than ours, but they go to movies and they buy games and they have kids. Sometimes they're buying stuff for their kids, but I love to see it when they're open about what it is that they like, and they don't care if people think that it's silly or whatever.
For sure. And, if there's any celebrities out here watching right now, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you are watching, as you can see, maybe if you're watching on YouTube, anything else, but Spotify, our room is small. We need an upgrade. So if you want to endorse us, we'll shout you out. We don't have much clout. We don't have much to offer, but we'll say your name at least twice throughout the stream.
There's one thing I feel that when we were starting this that I thought was really important, and that was that we're not going to sit here and bash on anyone or anything. We may not like something, but we're not going to be like, oh, you're the worst actor, or man, that guy's internet show was terrible, or, there's so much negativity. Yeah, we can say we don't like something. We don't have to sit and bash it for an hour and a half about how bad something is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's just like, I find it funny, like, things we don't agree on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've known each other, obviously, for a long time.
Your whole life.
Yeah, my whole life. Where I like something, you think it kind of sucks.
I think it sucks.
It's just like we were arguing the other day about the whole new Joker movie, and I think it's going to be amazing. Like, it's going to blow my mind, because I've always loved the Joker, and I think it's really cool what they're doing. They're kind of giving him an origin story, because the comic books, there's millions of different Joker origins, how he became the Joker, and you think this movie is just going to tank, and I'm sorry, but I can't stand by it.
I don't think that the movie's going to tank. I really don't want the movie to tank. No. You have to understand that when someone takes something that I've enjoyed since I was a kid, and they want to transform it into another medium. So they're taking a video game and making it into a movie. They're taking a comic book character that I like and turning it into a movie or a television show. I don't want to see it fail. I want it to be good. But at the same time, sometimes the trailers are deceptive. And there was nothing in that trailer that made me excited at all.
I mean, I don't think it's supposed to make you. I don't know. Trailers are definitely supposed to make you excited.
Is
before I said
that not the point of the trailers? This is why I get pissed off when people are like, "Well, we made it on time because the trailers are still playing." I was like, "No, we have to be in the theater before the trailers start. How am I supposed to know what I want to go see next?"
Well, then you run into the problems like Endgame, where you release all the spoilers. Yeah, I'm really excited now.
That wasn't in the theater though. That was that was at home. That was on the internet. You could just watch that anyway.
I will say this is that yes, dude, I think the trailer was it was very slow, but I think what you're seeing in the trailer, and I hope this is my big hope, is that what you're seeing in the trailer isn't the movie. I hope you see more of this, lead up for Joker into Joker doing these crimes, getting into the insane asylum. I want to see something in that, regards. But
I'm going to give it a chance. Believe me, they're going to get my money. I'm going to go to the theater. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to probably not buy my $50 popcorn and soda.
Oh, you're buying your popcorn. Let's be
honest.
honest.
And I'm going to watch it, because I don't want it to be terrible. And they have, Joaquin Phoenix, and he's great. Like, he's really good in a lot of stuff. And I've enjoyed him in a lot of movies. So I'm really hoping he's going to bring this unique thing that hasn't been done, and maybe similarly been done, but kind of still his own. Those are big shoes to fill, though. And I mean, even when and Heath Ledger's version of the Joker now has become iconic, almost the stuff of legends. But there were people that were like, "Man, I'd hate to have to be you right now because the last guy to be the Joker was Jack Nicholson, and he was amazing, and you have to follow that."
Oh, I thought you were about to say Jared Leto.
No.
I was about to say, I was like...
That came after, buddy.
I was sitting there, I was like, Jared Leto... I'm so mad at Suicide Squad. I don't even want to get into that movie because I could rant hours on end about that movie. So much hype. They made this Joker look insane. And then all they did was show a little bit of backstory. Well, they cut... I mean, I can't remember how much of percentage of the scenes that he was in.
A lot of them.
And he was...
You're not the only one pissed.
Oh.
He's pissed. He's like, "Why'd you cut off my scenes?"
Well, because they're doing the remake. They're already doing a remake of a movie that's been out for less than 5 years. And Jared Leto, because they got a new director, because they were very upset, because you're like, this is a Suicide Squad. This is supposed to be something cool. And, they didn't even have to have a cool ending. It just had to, be a build-up, get a second Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad actually has, it's a trilogy type thing. No, they were just like...
I mean, Jesus, they had Will Smith in the cast.
They had...
That guy prints, gold $100 bills. Everything he's in, it makes money pretty much.
Besides Aladdin.
And Wild Wild West. All right, so
Wild Wild West.
Not everything.
I was going to say, Wild Wild West was a great movie. I don't care what you say. It made me think of the game Ricochet.
It had moments. I'm not going to be one of those people who are like, "Oh, everything about it was..." No, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't... It wasn't The Matrix, which he turned down so he could be in Wild Wild West.
Maybe. Now, I may be a little confused because I almost asked a really dumb question. I almost said, is Suicide Squad a part of the Marvel Universe? And it's definitely not. It's DC.
And you'd have got slack.
And I probably would have been through this wall.
There would have been violence on the air, which our podcast listeners wouldn't have been able to see, but would have heard.
Going off because I just peeked over at Twitch chat, and I think this is actually a really great question. What do you think about next phase of Marvel?
Phase 4?
Phase 4.
I'm excited. I actually am really excited that they're not doing any type of an Avengers movie at all. Kind of giving people a break. I wouldn't say Avengers fatigue, but it gives them time to establish some of the characters that only maybe had one movie or haven't gotten to do much. I mean, because... Let's not kid ourselves. At the end of Infinity War, some of those guys were gone for 2/3 of the following movie, so they weren't really able to do much.
Strange just went.
So, I think that'll be cool. I think that the Disney Plus thing is going to be pretty cool with all the TV shows, and as far as what comes after that, because I mean, there's a bunch of other things that they didn't announce at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
that have already been announced. So they didn't say when it's coming out or whatever. But I mean, we know that there's going to be a sequel to Black Panther.
You have to.
We know that there's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like it's those things are happening as well.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like they should add a solo movie for Bucky. Like, it should just be about Bucky.
See, I like the character a lot. I think he's great, and I'm excited to watch him in the TV show with Falcon. The guy that plays Falcon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's going to be cool.
Well, they're going to have one. I thought it was with Falcon. Well,
Yeah, Falcon.
the guy that's Captain America now.
Well, I don't think they've officially said that.
Yeah, but like Bucky and him are kind of Batman and Robin, I guess, if you want to call it that. Bucky's definitely has to be Batman.
I'm going to watch that, though.
I mean, it's going to be good. I just feel like... I don't even want to get into this, because if I get into this, it's going to be all bad. Viewers are going to hate me. Which, I feel like the ending to Endgame... And by the way, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, but I'm about to... When Captain America handed him the shield, he should have gave it to Bucky. That's your homie. That's your homie for, like, the past, like... What is it, 50, 60 years?
You're
like,
not the only one that feels that way.
I don't think so. I'm good.
Like, he has his reasons.
Yeah.
The TV show is going to be fine. The reason that I don't necessarily want to see a whole solo movie with him was because he was a major plot point in
Winter Soldier.
the first Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
He was basically the entire plot point of Winter Soldier. And again, he was another big plot point in Civil War. So he's been in all 3 Captain America movies as a major character. And I don't really think that he needs a solo movie. I'm not saying that I don't want to see more of him as a character. I absolutely want to see him going out and kicking the crap out of people and kind of filling those almost quasi Captain American shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I need to see a whole movie of it. I think the TV premise is really good, though.
I think if you give me that, I think I'll be happy, because you don't need an origin story. You know how Bucky came up. I think you could definitely have some fillers, but I think the show will help. The one I'm most excited about is Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Because what they do with Thor movies is like they have this like serious plot, everything's serious about it, but they have still kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy feel to it, where they have these like little jokes and all these funny, and I think that's what Marvel does so well. They keep it serious but add the jokes, like the homage to Samuel L. Jackson multiple times in Captain Marvel, which that movie was meh in my opinion. But like Pulp Fiction references. By the way, if you guys haven't seen Pulp Fiction, go see it. It's been out for over 30 years, or we're getting close.
Probably close. Huh?
Yeah,
no, it was in
great
the 90s.
Great movie, great quotes, and you'll sit there and quote it like
20-ish years. We'll say.
But all the homage that Marvel does for characters and people, I like their. I don't even know what the word to use, but the way they flow the movies, serious, funny, good story and build up and everything. I think they do a really good job, especially in Thor's.
Everything about the Thor franchise has been interesting, I think. And a lot of the fans even say that the first 2 Thor movies out of the entire Marvel universe are probably 2 of the weakest movies. Yet, they still did well at the box office, and it looks like they're having fun making the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, they're tackling these completely ridiculous notions of gods and magic and mythology and trying to place it into a world that seems believable and real.
Yeah.
And I think that's the really cool part about it. It's not like, here we're going to give you superpowers via some, radioactive spider or a super soldier's serum. They just are born that way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's interesting. And Ragnarok, wow. Loved Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Loved the other 2, but Ragnarok was just on another level.
Yeah. Kind of really random and off topic.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure all the viewers that are watching right now just saw me like zone out in space, and it's going to be on YouTube. And there's no way of editing some guy that's just sitting there looking like they're on something magical.
He does that when anyone but him is talking. He's like, I'm going to pay attention.
Yeah. I
What-
zoned out there.
what-
There was definitely
what'd
like
you say?
I listened to you, but I was like focusing on what you were listening to. Like I was like as if you were whispering in my ear. I was all crouched down like this, listen to you like you had a side quest or something for me.
He was trying to press the X button on my dialogue. It didn't work.
Yeah, no. I was like, did you say something? So I just like the gamble that Marvel movies take, and pretty much a lot of movies now is just they're taking these concepts and they're not so afraid anymore of judgment. I mean, people used to they looked at X-Men. I mean, X-Men I feel like was one of the founders to superhero type movies, if you want to call it that. And X-Men were great. The first one was okay. Second one got better, and it got better as it went on. And that was a big leap because not many people were nerds. I mean, people like Star Wars, Star Trek, and stuff like that. But now I think in this community where you have like people like our grandpa that doesn't really know a lot about that stuff, going to the movie theater, seeing Infinity War and Endgame, and thinking it's the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Captain Marvel, he actually said he really enjoyed it, but
yeah,
I thought it was fine. I mean, you weren't a fan, and that's okay.
It was
the reason that you didn't like it, at least, were for legitimate reasons. It wasn't just because you're like, I hate Brie Larson. She's terrible, and I don't like her. You never said that, right?
Yeah,
and that's fine. You had problems with the plot. You had problems with the pacing. You said that it really wasn't interesting.
It felt like Star Trek was trying to like make its way. And by the way, guys, did you guys know that Captain Kirk is William Shatner? Same guy, not the Travelocity. He was not made famous by Travelocity.
No.
And
they paid him a lot of money because he was Captain Kirk.
Yeah, and one of our viewers let us know last week. He played a shaman. If you guys ever see the World of Warcraft commercial, especially like Ozzy playing Warlock, but they just take these really big gambles. And, speaking of gambles, Congress is passing something. You were telling me about this like just before we went on. Loot boxes in games. So these RNG, legendary, oh my god, can't wait to get them because, this skin like CSGO, they're like $1,300 for a knife skin. Virtual thing.
Loot boxes.
Yep. Loot boxes are going to have a percentage of your chance to win. And all I think is gambler hotline, gambler hotline, gambler hotline.
We live in society now where the mobile gaming has caught on like crazy.
Oh yeah.
And there's millions of dollars being made on mobile gaming.
For sure.
A lot of it is those loot box type things, and it's that whole slot machine mentality of if you put another dollar in, you might get something cool.
Oh, you might, yeah.
And it's addictive. I mean, you've seen people who have gone to gambling rehab centers and stuff because it's addictive. It's no different. Like, it's the same type of thing. Well, if you keep giving us money, we're going to keep giving you chances to get something really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part about it is that it's not worth anything. At least when you're putting money in a slot machine, you might get your money back.
Oh,
in this, you get nothing. You get shit. You get nothing. They took all your money and you get nothing.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious because in today's society, I know so many people that live, breathe, eat, sleep, and pray to the gods of cosmetics. Like, you have people in CSGO that pay thousands of dollars just so I can have this cool skin. The gun does not do any more power. It just makes you look cool. And when you drop it on the ground, you're like, I'm head honcho. I'm the cool kids table at lunch. So give me your chocolate milk punk. Like, that's pretty much what it feels like.
Gaming already is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And while I don't think that a publisher should not get money for their creative things.
We'll call it creative.
It still takes time.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that work on games,
right.
And some of the bigger budget games, especially ones with story. I mean, these stories have, I don't know, they're as complicated as movie plots. Some of them are way more complicated than movie plots. Where a movie you go in and you're talking about 2.5, maybe 3 hours tops. Some of these gaming experiences are 20, 30, 40, 50 hours of story and plot, and they have to tie all this together.
Yeah.
But loot boxes, we've already seen that the gaming community was outraged at Star Wars and EA in general, and it ruined that game. That game is a great game. It's a really good
yes.
Star Wars game. It has a good story mode. The multiplayer is fun, but the loot boxes absolutely killed it, and rightly so. The dollar amounts that they were saying that you had to have spent to get the characters and stuff that you wanted to play was bullshit.
Oh, it was.
Straight up bullshit.
But at the same time, people can be outraged about this, but Call of Duty's been sitting over here for the past, 5-6 years, throwing people, hey, buy our loot boxes, you get cool cosmetics. And that's what makes me mad, is that people are so outraged by this, but you still see people putting in their credit card, buying 100 boxes because they want the coolest stuff. You see it in Overwatch.
But they picked that mostly EA, because EA,
Yeah.
I think EA is one of the most notorious companies for doing it.
Money grab, 100%.
And don't get me wrong, I think that EA makes good games. EA has made good games for years. But if you want someone to if you think that your game is worth $100, then put $99.99 on it and charge $100. Don't $60, you get most of the game, but you're going to want all this other DLC and stuff. And that's like a slippery slope, and it's annoying. We've been dealing with it for a long time. And DLC that doesn't actually add anything to the game, especially story content, or if you don't get all the teams or all the players, I think that's crap. But at least they're coming out and saying, hey, if you want all this other stuff, it's going to cost this much money.
Yep.
You didn't have to get a loot box for them. But then they found that loot boxes were much more profitable.
Well, that's what kind of made me mad. I know I keep paying, going back to Call of Duty.
Well, they're guilty of it too.
Oh, they're very guilty because there was multiple times, and a lot of people that buy DLC, you buy this season pass. So season pass normally comes separate from the game. It's an extra like $40. Mm-hmm. Nice thing is here's the catch: you get all the DLC content, but that's like the biggest roll of a dice, because you could get a great set of maps. Using Call of Duty as the reference. And they're fun. They're, they brought back some throwback maps with some HD graphics added into it. Makes it look beautiful. And then you have these map sets where you get 5-6 new maps, maybe a new gun, and it's just literal garbage. Garbage. And you can't do anything about it, and you can't fix anything, and you're just like, okay, maybe my next map pack. So it comes out with normally about 4 map packs, and you may get 1 to 2 that were worth your money. But if you sit down and look at it, you could have bought those map packs for $10 a piece and been done with it. You would have saved yourself $20 and put it towards the next Call of Duty, so you can do the same thing over again. And that's what frustrates, I think, me the most about the whole loot boxes, DLC content. Give us the game, and if the DLC content, I want to see more of it. I don't want to see, itty bitty cosmetics. I want to see actual content. Like, Zelda is, I think, the best, and Nintendo does it best when it comes to DLC.
With their first party games, and I'm not talking anything third party that came over, but their first party games, their DLC packages are very straightforward.
Oh yeah,
they're completely optional. Most of the time, they don't add anything that you feel that you need to play the game or to enjoy the full experience. They don't add a bunch of little tiny things that are kind of silly. It's usually side stuff at the end, maybe extra story mode or whatever, but you don't feel that you need it.
No.
And they're reasonable.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel that $20 or $25 is unreasonable for an extra 10 to 20 hours of content on a game. But when it's almost all cosmetic stuff, that's annoying. That just makes you want to reach through the screen and punch the developer in the face like, come on, can you give me something more?
Oh, for sure.
This could have been stuff that you added in the game that we could earn.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Zelda really struck my eye with this, especially as far as just like cosmetics, DLC, loot box. Zelda, if you guys haven't played it, Breath of the Wild, you have easily, wouldn't you say, 70, 80 hours of just strict main mission content.
If you try to accomplish everything, you have easily that much.
Yeah. And then you go out and buy this DLC, which adds more to the story. It adds a little bit extra, more side quests. And you have like another like 40 to 60 hours of content. And that to me is worth every single penny, because it's not like it's expensive. I don't remember how much the asking price was.
$24.99.
Exactly.
And even if you don't enjoy all of the DLC parts of it, because I think there was basically like this thing where you start out with nothing and you progress through levels, sort of, and you try and see how far you can get, what level you can achieve, and that was kind of like an optional thing.
Yeah.
But they added another dungeon to the main game, and they added the motorcycle, which was like a cosmetic thing, but it was like another mount.
Yeah.
And there was more memories and stuff. It added more to the game, but did you need it? No, because I had already finished Breath of the Wild, and I felt that I completed every shrine, I explored every inch of that map, and I felt like I finished the game.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, but you should when you've done all that, and because there's like the 1,000 seeds or whatever you can find.
I did not.
Diablo, I think, is another one. I remember when it was Reaper of Souls came out for Diablo, and that was
Blizzard's pretty good about their DLC.
Oh, for sure.
There's been a few times that mostly Overwatch stuff that it's on the borderline of being unnecessary, but
I
get it.
But what with Overwatch is that Overwatch, it's a very cosmetic type game, especially what they do. I call it DLC, but like the seasonal things that they do for characters, like during Halloween, they do like you can get all these exclusive skins for this guy during this time. So loot boxes are flying off the virtual shelves over here, because you can get like a guy that looks like Frankenstein, your Roadhog looking like Frankenstein, which I think is awesome. And I think Blizzard and Nintendo, they do a really good job, because look at WoW. I know some people complain about DLC and WoW and stuff like that, but like Burning Crusade, Wrath, all of those, great expansions.
Those were complete experiences, though.
Yes.
If you bought the expansion to World of Warcraft, you got everything in the expansion.
Yeah, there was nothing left out.
You got every dungeon, you got every raid that they put out, all of the free updates. Yeah. When they started doing their own versions of DLC, it was cosmetic. There was no loot box essence to it at all. If you wanted a specific mount or a pet, you just gave them money and then you got it.
Yeah.
It was optional. That mount wasn't any better than anyone else's mount. It just looked different.
And I think you're right. I think that a lot of people could learn from them, but I like the fact that Congress is making them do loot boxes, because there was nothing worse than you're sitting there on you're Googling it. CS:GO, you're like, man, I really want a knife. Oh, I can get it this time. And realistically, you have a 1% chance or less.
I'm not sure if the bill actually passed. I know that a guy, I don't remember the senator's name, he said, hey, let's do this thing. It's not right. But regardless, the game companies are becoming compliant. And the big three, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, all said, we're going to start disclosing that information on our stuff.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of the independent publishers and stuff that, they put out the games for the systems, companies like Warner Brothers, Wizards of the Coast, Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Blizzard, all these companies said it's irresponsible not to. And they all agree.
Yeah, because as much as people think it's kind of stupid, you are taking a gamble, and they even said something that like doing loot boxes, that's gambling essentially, because you're taking
if
a
it's
chance.
for money, if you're paying money to get that box, yes, that is gambling.
Oh, for sure.
It's like when you put the quarter in the little vending machine with the little claw. Maybe you'll get something cool, and maybe you'll feel like they stole your quarter.
I always feel like that. I've never won one of those. I watched my brother go up and do it, and he just wins every time. Kind of switching gears on I don't really want to call it more of a serious topic, because we're not going to really touch too much base on it.
No.
But Walmart no longer is advertising these violent video games. I don't know exactly what games. I just know games that have violence, they're no longer advertising. Now, from my understanding, what you were kind of telling me, they are still selling.
Yes.
So if you go to a Walmart, I guess don't fear if you go in there and be like, well, where's all the Call of Duties? They have them. They're just going to be more of like an upon request type thing. You're still going to be able to get them on Amazon. They're not banned. And I think my personal feelings on this is, okay, whatever. Do what you got to do. I'm still going to buy my game. It's not going to change my feelings. And we're not even going to get into the whole politics aspect of it, because really, video games are just video games to me, and I don't really follow that stuff.
It made big news, because that's, I guess, kind of a big deal.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't really think it's going to affect sales of any kind.
No.
I mean, there's internet, right? People know.
Oh, yeah,
people know the game's coming out,
Yeah.
and they said it was all. It wasn't just video games. It was movies, books, and anything having to do with hunting.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't really say that I blame them. They feel that they had to do something.
And you have to. Sometimes you have to make the people happy. You have to kind of, even if, because like you said, it's not going to affect sales.
No.
I still go into my Myers, my Walmarts, Kroger's, wherever I'm getting a video game at, and I still have to go get a guy to go unlock the case and get my game.
There's we're pretty fortunate now, right? Because there are some people that live in pretty remote places that don't have access to game stores, toy stores, specialty stores like Best Buy. They might, be 30, 40 miles from a store like that. So they actually do rely on stores like Meijer or, Walmart, maybe even Target to get things.
Yeah.
And to us, we're like, get it on Amazon, get it on Best Buy. We have lots of options. I don't understand why some of these people don't use the internet to buy certain things.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I was who knows? And, kind of speaking of games, you were telling me about something really crazy, and I'm going to kind of let you take the steering wheel on this one. I'm going to pass it over because you know more about
I'm getting the baton.
Yes, he is now he's going to lead the transition, guys. He hasn't had a lot of practice of this and no judging, but he's a lot better at this than I am. So I'm the face. I'm the face. Steve Jobs, whatever the dude, I forget his name. I've looked it up like 3 times.
He's basically the technical aspect of the entire thing. And
yeah.
He's the producer, the editor. He does all the heavy lifting. I show up, get a chair, sit down, and talk.
You're Wozniak. That's the name.
Wozniak.
I'm Steve Jobs. This is Wozniak. We're changing our names right now.
You are definitely the technical side of all of this. Not that I can't do it. I don't want to. I don't have time. I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, basically, in the world of Nintendo, there is one game cartridge out there that is on the list as like the rarest of the rare. It is the White Whale. It is the Aladdin's Magic Lamp of video game cartridges. And that is the Nintendo World Championship 1990 cartridge, which I've seen emulation of it, and it's not really great. It's just rare. No one has it.
Yeah.
Originally, they believed that there were about 200 in existence, and now we are starting to see some of them pop up in weird places in the 300s. Like, they are all individually numbered. And the one that we're about to talk about was number 302. So there are more than those out there. And I think there was a rumor that someone found one that was marked like 375. So how many are there out there? I don't know. Nintendo knows that number. Anyway, it's rare, okay? You're talking there might at most be 400 or 500 copies of this game in existence. So how did you get one? How were you able to get one?
Yeah.
Nintendo Power was doing like a promotion thing where you could order it through Nintendo Power back when that was a thing. Do you know what Nintendo Power was?
No, I was probably, still...
Well, back when people read magazines...
Okay.
I'm going to sound like an old timer here for a minute.
The
Back
good
when
old
people
days.
wore magazines and you had subscriptions, there was this magazine that Nintendo put out. It was called Nintendo Power. And it basically talked about upcoming games. It talked about strategy. They also gave you cheat codes, and they would tell you how to get through games. They'd have like where we go on the internet now and we're like, how do you get through this game? This game's hard.
And YouTube link, go.
You would wait for Nintendo Power, and you better hope that this month's issue had the game that you rented from Blockbuster or wherever, so you could get through it, or that your friend had that issue. Like, man, when did that issue with Battletoads come out? I need to borrow that.
I got $50 in late fees right now. They need to hurry up with this issue.
The World Championship cartridge was, besides Nintendo Power, and it was very limited. I don't know how many they gave out or whatever. You had to attend one of these World Championship series and win. You had to be the best and win and get the cartridge.
Okay.
It was the prize. And there was it's basically like a bunch of not even full games. They're like almost demo mode games. There's 5 or 6 different like demo mode games on it. I don't even remember all the games that are on it, but they're not interesting. So what's it worth, right? Well, market value on one in a really good condition is anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000 for the standard gray edition. There is a gold edition one, which I think is supposedly rarer, and I've heard of one selling for around $100,000. That's rare. So news this week, and this is pretty cool because this is like one of those things that you never hear about.
No.
This is those guys that did the show with the garages where you bid Garage Wars or whatever. Where you bid.
Storage Wars, yeah.
This is kind of like that same thing, and you're hoping that you're going to open up a shed and you get to look at it and you're like, okay, there's a lot of cool stuff in there, and then you hit the lottery. This is kind of like that.
Okay.
Guy brings his collection of Nintendo stuff into a game store. The store is called Pink Gorilla. I looked them up. They're located in Seattle, Washington, and I have mad respect for this game company. This individual store that buys old retro stuff and resells it. Guy brought in a bag or a box, I'm not sure, filled with a bunch of Nintendo cartridges. The store owner said that there were games in there like California games, which no one wants, and Russian Attack. So it's not like the thing was filled with a bunch of really rare old games. But then there in the box was this World Championship Edition cartridge also. Now it looked kind of dirty and beat up. And he kind of gasped because this is the Holy Grail. Like, you don't see that. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, do you know how much this is worth? And the guy goes, no idea. I just,
Will you buy my games, please?
He's like, can I have some money?
Yeah.
And basically he said he had like this, not even like a moral dilemma. Like, there was no doubt in his mind at all. All he wanted to do was validate that it was an actual legitimate copy. So I think he ended up taking the cartridge apart, running the diagnostics or whatever on to determine whether it was an actual legitimate copy, puts it back together, and then instead of being a turd of a human being, he said, I could have given the guy $1, I could have given him $20 or whatever, and he would have never known. He wrote the dude a check for $13,000.
I think I'd throw up a little bit. But
That was just for that. I don't know what he got for the other games, but he gave him $13,000 for that cartridge.
I heard he got double for his other games. They were really popular.
They were really popular. So that's something that I've never personally seen in small shops. I'm not saying small shops rip you off, but
yeah.
You hear more times than not about the small shops that rip customers off, not telling them how much something is worth. And then this guy, he didn't have to be honest about it, but he knew that he has moral conviction or whatever, because the customer didn't have any idea how much it was worth.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, seriously, go check it out. There's pictures of it. It's really cool to see something that old and rare.
Yeah.
And speaking of like, I don't know, just games in general, what would you say is your all-time favorite game ever?
Zombie Ate My Neighbors.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yes, 100%. I remember playing that, next door with you and my aunt. We used to play that game, and I used to love it so much and I still play it on the emulator here and there, and I absolutely love that game. I wish they would bring something back like that. Like, if I could play that game every day with like updated graphics, I would be the happiest guy ever. I'd never buy probably another game.
What happened with that franchise?
I have no idea. Because I read stuff about it because I was trying to find the game one day, and I ended up finding it on the emulator, and I read that they were gonna make a second one, shortly after they released it, because it actually got positive reviews. It's like one of the top 50 games, old school games to play, and they just kind of like died off, like the project kind of ended. So I don't know. I haven't really read up on it, and I don't remember what company made the game.
Okay, so makers of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, if you still possess the rights, give them to someone else to redo it, or just put it out yourselves.
Let the guys that make Mario make it.
We will give you money. These two guys right here will give you money for a new Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
I will pay you $61. That's all I have right now. Economy's rough right now.
It's hard out there.
Did you? I don't know if you heard about it, but this guy, because I know you're a big Skyrim fan. I haven't personally played the game a lot. I've been playing ESO a lot, which kind of got me into Skyrim. Guy beats Skyrim with a torch. Walks around the whole game with a torch and beats it.
I can't beat Skyrim with weapons. I get so distracted with all the side quests and riding horses, and
yeah.
I've never completed the main story in the game. Not because it's hard, but because I'll roam around for 50 or 60 hours, forgetting what I'm doing, having no idea. So with a torch, how long did he say how long it took him to do that? Because that's actually really cool.
No, it did not. But if I had to guess, somebody that is of that caliber, I can beat the game with the torch. Because I know there's dragons, there's giants, there's a whole bunch of things in the game that are just crazy, and he had to be probably, I would guess, one of the speed runners, guys that are really talented. It's like the people that play Bloodborne, like, oh, I beat Bloodborne with my left hand and blindfolded. Probably somebody of that caliber. I would have to read up more on it, but yeah, somebody beat Skyrim with the torch, and that's impressive.
That's super cool. You play ESO.
Yes.
You've never played Skyrim, or you haven't spent a lot of time playing Skyrim?
I played Skyrim. Basically, I talked to the dirty guy on the little carriage, because the opening scene's like a half an hour before you actually talk to anybody.
It is a very long opening.
And I'm like, this guy kind of smells next to me, and it's. But I got a little bit. I think I got to the first town, and that was about it.
You know what gets me hyped up for that game? Every single time that I hear it is the song, right? The main theme song.
Okay, yes.
That the guy's chanting and the drums. If I hear that, I immediately want to go home and play right now. I want to stop everything I'm doing. Those guys chanting must be like, play Skyrim, it's the greatest game ever.
Oh, it has to be. And, I think we're going to see Skyrim on the mobile here very soon. Because they've added
Elder Scrolls for sure. There's already an Elder Scrolls game on the mobile.
Well, they've added about every Skyrim to every platform. And, you can get Skyrim anywhere. You could probably get Skyrim on your Xbox if you look hard enough. Like, they probably have it backwards compatible or something like that.
They took it back to Xbox Original?
Original. Not even 360. We went way back in time on this one.
Personally, I've bought the game now on Xbox 360 twice.
Okay.
I bought it on PlayStation 4, the remastered. I also bought the VR version.
I need to play it.
Which is very cool, and I bought the Switch version.
See, I think that would be neat. I would love to be able to play Skyrim on the mobile. I feel like I would play it more if I could, I'm sitting, at work or something like that, and I can play Skyrim, for 15, 20 minutes. I actually might get something done.
I thought the same thing, but when I was playing on the Switch, I was doing really well. I was staying focused. I'm on the main quest, and then before you know it, I'm off in some cave that has nothing to do with what, the main story in the game is. But they do have an Elder Scrolls game on mobile. It's called Blades. Mm-hmm. There's loot boxes, there's microtransactions, there's all that fun stuff in it. But it is pretty cool. The graphics are good, and the controls are easy, and it's actually coming to the Switch. And the two will, your account will be linked. So if you make progress on the mobile, it'll be saved on the Switch and vice versa, which is kind of cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to spice things up today.
Oh, spicy.
All right.
Spicy time.
We got a few minutes left
in
the podcast, so we're going to do rapid question fire with you. How it works, I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to say your answer fast. If you want to, you can try.
I wasn't prepared for this.
That's okay. I sent you that text, I promise you. It probably didn't send. Maybe through, I know we have iMessage, but maybe it just sent us regular text and SIM card bad or something like that. But, first question, ready? Are you ready? That's the first question.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, nerd shirt of the day. What shirt are you wearing today?
Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell.
Okay, is that your favorite character from Saved by the Bell? We're going to just play off this one.
She was when I was 12.
Okay, I mean, what does she look like now?
Oh, wait, time.
No time.
We're talking about Saved by the Bell. There's a site on Facebook I found. You have to check it out sometime. It's called Zach Morris's Trash. And this guy basically does these 10-minute long videos dissecting an episode, trying to prove to everyone that Zach Morris, the main character of Saved by the Bell, is actually a big douchebag.
Okay.
And it's true. We'll watch them later. Continue on to questions.
All right. Man, you made me forget my question. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Favorite anime character? Ooh, gotcha.
Inuyasha.
You're not going to say Piccolo? I was really hoping for Piccolo.
I don't really consider Dragon Ball Z traditional anime.
It is definitely anime.
I don't consider. I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm just saying there are a lot of anime fans that probably wouldn't agree with Inuyasha.
Okay. Essential drink for gaming.
Mountain Dew.
What flavor though? Just regular Mountain Dew, or are we talking like
It doesn't matter.
it's Mountain Dew?
Pick one.
What'd you think of
Except for Diet Mountain Dew.
Liberty Brew? Thoughts? 50 different Mountain Dews blended as one.
It tasted like Bomb Pops, and I love Bomb Pops.
I hated it.
Did you try it in a slushie?
No, I feel
Because it is amazing in a slushie.
Okay. Few more. Let's see here. I know now. I'm just thinking these off my head.
No, go ahead. Okay. It's kind of fun.
How I Met Your
People
Mother.
are gonna know that we're not prepared for the whole thing, but
No.
you know what? Like I said, we're gonna try some stuff. How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. Are you Ted or Marshall? Team Ted or Team Marshall? How do you compare your life? Do you think you're like?
Oh, which character am I the most like?
Yeah.
Ted.
Okay.
I feel that for the first 4 or 5 seasons of my life, no one really liked me.
Yeah.
And as I progress further into the later seasons, everyone likes me and just kind of feels sorry for me.
I've recently picked up on Friends, and I never really watched Friends, and it's actually really funny.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it's bad. I think
I don't either. It got a bad rep in the 90s when I was growing up. That it was just you weren't cool if you watched that. But someone clearly was watching it because that show is really popular.
Well, I mean, Netflix paid millions just to keep it on.
Yeah, we got some comments in here.
Yeah.
I'll always be here for you.
Oh, I mean,
and we thank you.
we thank you. Yeah, I mean, we'll try to be here as much as we can every Saturday. Be here always. Always trying to start. We might do a little earlier, but I think this little nighttime podcast. Really, if you listen to it at home, we're kind of like an ASMR. You can like go to sleep to this.
I don't want to sleep to the sound of my own voice.
You don't listen to your voice at night? Like,
no.
I kind of watch my past broadcasts and like I have dreams about it. Like, finding the clips and stuff.
You're an egotist. It's fine.
Hey, it's all good. But final question of the day.
Okay.
You're on your path in Zelda. Okay. Do you talk to the old man looking kind of shady in the corner?
Yeah, are you referring to Breath of the Wild?
We'll just say you're in Zelda. You're in the Zelda universe, okay?
Okay, Zelda universe.
Okay, you're walking through. You see this guy in the alley. Okay? He's got a hood on. You can't really see him. Or do you go talk to like the lady that like has a little question mark above her head? Who are you talking to first?
The guy. And not because I'm sexist. Historically speaking, from the very first Legend of Zelda game, you kind of go into this cave and there's an old dude in there that gives you your sword. Okay. And if you don't get that sword, it's going to be a rough time.
For sure.
In the more recent version of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, if you don't talk to that old guy down by the fire, it's going to be a rough time.
First character you played in D&D, what kind of character was he? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. The first character that I played in Dungeons and Dragons was a fighter.
Okay. I like it. What did I play? The Druid? Druid. I loved it. I was like a half elf.
So I have some questions.
Oh gosh.
At least one.
Okay.
So we're doing this thing. If we were in the DC universe,
why DC?
Which one of us would be Batman and which one of us would be Robin? I just want to know who the leader of the show is.
Oh.
And who's the sidekick. No feelings hurt. Because I may agree.
I'm the sidekick.
You're the sidekick?
For sure.
You're the comic relief?
Yeah.
You're the boy wonder.
Yeah, because my feeling is like, you got the game plan. This week I was not prepared, but Batman, he had the game plan.
I have the fucking utility belt. I showed up and saved the day.
Yeah, and I was just here. I was like,
no, that's not true. That's not 100% true.
But when as far as the podcast goes, I kind of I lead the transitions. I do the intro. I'm Batman when it comes to the podcast. You're Robin.
No, I'm gonna disagree with that.
You're Catwoman then.
Catwoman?
Dude, I saw this really funny picture. We're not even gonna get into it, but it was Joker was sitting there getting beat up. I think it was from a comic book slide or something, and the Joker's just sitting there pestering Batman the whole time. He's like, "You never talk to me anymore." He acts like he's his girlfriend. You know, what happened to us? When did things change? Like all this stuff. But I think I'm Robin, because I kind of like follow you. Like, hey,
I feel that we kind of swap roles
for sure.
back and forth. And
Yeah.
so sometimes, I think it would be more accurate to say Superman, Batman.
Yeah, because we're gonna fight Doomsday, because you know.
We're gonna fight Apocalypse.
Yeah.
We're fighting the bad guys.
For sure.
We're gonna put the big fist in Lex Luthor's face.
Yeah. Screw that bald guy. So, do you want to do the recap, or do you want me to do the recap?
Let's see. Recap this week. Basically, kids, we were not prepared,
No.
and I feel like this went better.
I feel like I was more into it, more into the flow.
I didn't feel like it was more like we are reading the news because we read the news.
Yep. This week on Channel 10.
On Channel 10.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just felt like it was right. And sometimes it's not. You got to be wrong. Just don't say anything next time. Yeah.
All right, so recap. Pokemon, Gene Simmons is going to be in the new Pokemon game, kind of.
Doug Dimmadome, Ghastly.
Yep, very cool. Let's see, we had the loot boxes.
Yep.
They're going to be having to reveal those. Walmart not doing advertising for the gaming. We didn't touch on that a lot, which is fine. Nintendo World Championship cartridge shows up in random store in Seattle.
Big shout out to them, by the way. Pink Gorilla. I will hit you up on Twitter after this podcast, because
Yes.
I think that's awesome reading about this story and how you did not scam somebody out of serious money. And another thing to throw to the quick recap. William Shatner is Captain Kirk, not the memorable guy from... That is going to be forever the meme of the channel. Captain Kirk is William Shatner.
We have to make that into a meme.
And I did not know that. I thought he was just the popular guy from Travelocity.
He just thought he was that really nice guy from Travelocity.
And he's a shaman. Shout out to Archangel195 for that comment, by the way. And guys, that pretty much wraps it
I
up.
think we're done.
Another good podcast. The room's not as hot today. I will say this. I don't feel as sweaty, like I need to go take a shower.
No, I don't feel as nervous.
No.
I feel like it was much better this time.
Yeah. And, you know, we're going to see you guys next week, hopefully. Thank you for some of the comments from, like, Seth Chomper and stuff like that. You know, asked us about the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah.
We like the feedback.
Yeah.
Love us, hate us. We prefer that you at least like us.
Yeah. And as we progress, we're going to read more comments and stuff like that. We're going to actually have some segments on it where you guys ask us rapid fire questions and we try to answer them to our best ability. And we may try to do something fun with it. But keep giving us comments, you know, reviews, stuff like that. Tell us if we suck, what you want to hear. You know, maybe you see something in the news that you want to have it talked about. You know, message us, or, you know, just say it up in chat sometimes and we might, you know, throw it into the stream. So thank you guys again. And
Thank you, everybody.
Yep. And those two nerds are going to go do some more nerd activities. And what I mean by nerd activities, it's White Castle time.
White Castle time.
And if you don't eat White Castles with cheese on them, you better be lactose intolerant. And we both are.
Yeah. By the way, White Castle did not pay us for this endorsement. We just like them.
Yep. So, you know, if you don't like White Castles, then fuck you. Okay? Until next time, guys. Thank you.
CELEA